You guys have always been asking me where I get my wallpapers.
Nobody asked.
It's called panels.
Marques Brownlee is coming under fire, and it doesn't appear that everyone is on his side this time.
After teasing it on Twitter, he finally released the app, and it was a paid wallpaper app.
He just released a shameless cash grab.
Golden rule of the internet: never try to charge for something that was already free.
Marques Brownlee, more commonly known by Will Smith as Marques Brownlee,
It's rewind time. Fortnite and Marques Brownlee.
Is this what you wanted?
is recently getting a lot of flack for a new app that he's trying to promote. Now, Marques is someone that I feel is like one of YouTube's golden boys. He basically never gets involved in any kind of drama. But recently, if you go into the comments section of his latest video, they are cooking him hard. And this is because he's trying to release an app that is basically a glorified wallpaper. You know, maybe if this was a concept back in 2010 when you had, like, you know, iPod touches, maybe he'd be praised for his efforts. Honestly, if we really did want a 2010 renaissance to happen, all you'd need to do is re-release that drinking beer app that everyone was like fixated over. And also, do you remember the gun app as well? You could have like an actual gun that fired for some reason on your phone. Or you could just install none of those and install iFunny. Now, if you're not aware, Marques is obviously one of the most popular YouTubers on the platform. His content revolves around tech. He looks at products, usually up-and-coming ones, does a review, does a comparison. Usually, he's the guy that you watch when you buy something, and then you start looking up reviews of the purchase you made. Why do you do that? God, you're so weird, bro. That sucks. No, seriously, though, I don't know why everyone does that. It's like you buy something, you've made the active decision, and then you, like, start looking up reviews of it as, like, a confirmation bias thing. It's like you've already wasted the money, bro. So the majority of content that Marques covers is tech-related content. But for the most part, he does seem to be genuinely very unbiased. Now, Marques has a huge following to the point that if your product is spoke bad about, chances are it could actually kill your company or do irreparable damage. That has happened in the past when Marques has covered content that he hasn't really liked, and then like sales or shares of said company or product have basically tanked overnight. And I think one reason why Marques is respected so much is because he does come across as very unbiased, to the point that, you know, if he doesn't like something in a product or he feels the improvements, for example, if a new phone comes out and last year's phone is pretty much exactly the same, he will say, you don't need to buy this. It's a complete waste of your time. I mean, there are other tech YouTubers as well, like iJustine. No hate to iJustine, but I swear she probably has in a clause, if she speaks bad about an Apple product, she will be kidnapped. Honestly, like, no hate to iJustine, by the way. I went on her channel and looked at her oldest videos. She's been doing YouTube for like the best part of 20 years. YouTube has actually been a thing for nearly 20 years. God, I'm old. God, that sucks. I've been looking on some of her oldest videos, and she's been doing content since like 2006. So I was unironically 9 years old when her first video came out. And one thing that Marques is most popular for are very brutal reviews he does, where he straight up says this product sucks. He's talked about Humane, Rabbit, these tech products that don't really change the game at all. They're just completely useless. Most people would avoid talking about it, or they'd say good things if they got a sponsor, but Marques, he will just straight up say this sucks. And I mean, I get it. It's not like Marques is the bravest person in the entire world, because as we know, negativity gets spread around more than positivity. So for example, this is why commentary channels are so based around negativity, because if they talked about positive things or good things, no one really cares, unfortunately. And that really is like a really unfortunate truth that I don't think people really like to talk about. But yeah, Marques is basically the same as any other YouTube channel, knowing saying something negative will basically get more views. I mean, for example, him talking about the Rabbit product, I didn't know what that product was. I saw a couple of ads for it on TikTok and I didn't really care. And if I saw a review from him being neutral or positive, I would have clicked on it. But then seeing, you know, how negative it is in the title, it's like, ooh, I gotta watch now. I gotta see how bad it is. He's also interviewed some huge players like pre-mental breakdown Elon Musk, the current CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, most recently known to Donald Trump as Tim Apple.
We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple.
So you can't argue that he probably is the single biggest tech YouTuber. And one thing we know about YouTubers is they love money. I swear, like 2015 and before that on YouTube, most YouTubers would write a book.
But now, Fortnite Ninja has delved into the world of literature, releasing his own book titled Ninja, Get Good. My ultimate guide to gaming.
I have noticed that YouTubers are selling books less and less because I genuinely just think, like, with the inclusion of TikTok and stuff now, people's brains are too rotted. Honestly, when I'm out in public and I see someone reading a book, I think that they're from, like, another dimension, some 500 IQ individual that actually has the time to read pages. I think the last book that I read, unironically, was, like, a video game instruction manual. But, you know, a lot of YouTubers, they end up doing food and drink products now, right? Like, we've got Lunchleys with Mr. Beast. By the way, again, no hate to KSI, but like after covering that video talking about the Lunchly stuff, and so many other YouTubers did as well. If you don't know, Lunchly is a competitor to Lunchables that Logan, KSI, and Mr. Beast are doing right now. No one liked it, mostly because Dan TDM went off on them saying how messed up it was. And then, you know, KSI clapped back in a very childish way, just showing some like collectible figurines that Dan made. So the entire internet has basically gone against them. You go in the comment section of any of their videos, just terrible. Quick little update on that, by the way. KSI quote tweeted him again saying, he was talking about food, JJ. He was sponsored, then promoted, and made a whole video on Munch Pack, a monthly sub box full of food and candy to his Minecraft audience full of kids. Now what? And then the readers added context, which absolutely obliterated him. Dan TDM posted this video on his third channel 9 years ago. He did also not create or have any stakes in Munch Pack. So yeah, you can really tell they were scraping the bottom of the barrel there, just talking about how, oh, like, look at this thing he did 9 years ago, kind of cringe. And then he ended up doing a video on his second channel called Everyone Hates Us Right Now, and the entire thing is just mold. Like you can see the dislike ratio as well. People did not like this.
You mess with Dan TDM, you mess with YouTube. I mean, that's cringe.
There are other brands as well, like Emma Chamberlain having her coffee brand. Jacksepticeye also has a coffee brand as well. Moving into consumable products seems to be the new wave of a thing to do for YouTubers. So obviously, it was only a matter of time before Marques Brownlee threw his hat into the ring to bring out his own product. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but before this whole drama, he did actually have a previous collab with a brand called Atoms. That was a shoe collab, but to be fair, that was a collab. This, what I'm about to talk about now, is an entire brand new product made by Marques. Now, this all started back on the 22nd when Marques hinted on his Twitter account he was going to be releasing an app. And then at the same time as dropping a review of the latest iPhone, he then tweets out the announcement of his new app called Panels. Now, the app itself is fairly straightforward. It's basically just an app that has all kinds of options for wallpapers and people to choose from. I mean, personally, I never really understood the appeal of like having custom wallpapers through an app. You can just kind of get an image and then set it as a phone background. I mean, if you look here, this is my phone background I got here. It's very normal. Waiting for it to focus in. Yep, very normal phone background there. Dude, I've unlocked my phone so many times in public, and then I just get an absolutely disgusted look by whoever's sat next to me. Rightfully so. Now, one of the biggest benefits of Panels was basically artists would be able to submit their work, and then it would be a split revenue share system where the artist actually gets paid for their time. So this sources new talent, gets them to stay on the platform because they're being paid. So this sounds really, really good. What's the problem with it? The problem is if you want to download high quality versions of any of these wallpapers, you need to pay for a premium subscription called Panels Plus. And Panels Plus, for basically a glorified wallpaper engine, is really expensive. It's $11.99 per month or $49.99 a year. That is insanely expensive. I really don't think the team that Marques hired, or maybe he himself, understood that like no one has any money right now. I mean, I'm saying this while wearing Darkwood merch that you could buy right now to support the channel. Just the double standards. Now, the split that the artists get for submitting their artwork and it being used is really good. It's a straight 50-50 split. But at the same time, I can't help but feel that this is like an American diner situation where it's like you're kind of forced to tip. So the person serving you gets a fair wage because the boss doesn't really want to put the wage on themselves. I mean, there definitely has to be a better solution than paying $12 a month just for phone wallpapers. And as well, like I said, there is a free version, a non-premium version, but that does come with ads. And imagine having to watch like 2 ads just to unlock the standard definition version of a wallpaper. Especially to unlock a wallpaper that's just the color orange. So you have to pay quite a lot of money to get access to this app, or just watch loads and loads of ads. I mean, to be fair, it kind of functions like most apps where they have a free version that spams you with ads to the point that you're basically losing years of your life to avoid paying like $5. But then again, it's like for what the app is offering, $50 a year is insane. Now, a lot of people did notice this as well, which they really didn't like. Apart from, you know, paying the fee or watching the ads, this app actually tracks a lot of your data as well as your location. Now, I'm not really sure why it does that. Maybe to sell it onto advertisers so they can make more money, or maybe they just want to make sure that you're safe when you have your orange wallpaper on. I mean, here you've got someone on Twitter basically saying, "I'll be honest, I lost a bit of respect for Marques. Immediately asks to track app activity, also tracks location, has terrible design and animations, ads are absolutely everywhere, $50 a year subscription. The wallpapers aren't even that good." And then as well, apparently they were like extremely lazy with the config names when you look into the coding of the app. Like someone called Lunarscape on Twitter showing some of the code, and they are just using literally random letters. Like it literally is the equivalent of like how people on Tumblr would talk, or like women in TikTok comments, how they just like mash on the button like, "Oh, I'm screaming, I can't." FD. If you speak like that, you should be shot, by the way, in a video game. And apparently the security on the app wasn't very good either. So people were actually able to steal all of the high quality versions of the wallpapers with no issues. So they didn't even need to pay. They basically just got into the back door of the app and stole everything. Now, Marques is claiming that the app was built from scratch. There wasn't like any kind of foundation or template being used. And that could be why that there's some issues, like people stealing the entire thing that you're charging them for. But then people have been comparing the UI to another popular wallpaper app called Backshots. They should call it Backshots. Or showing how fast that they made their version of panels by using OpenAI in 10 minutes. That's crazy. Obviously, I'm not condoning that at all. It is just another reminder that AI is absolutely terrifying, and it is coming for your job. People also started to immediately pull up tweets of Marques, like very old tweets. For example, one of him back in 2016 saying, "Golden rule number 1 of the internet, never try to charge for something that was already free," which obviously is a huge irony because wallpapers are free. I mean, my wallpapers commissioned art, but most people won't have that as a wallpaper. They'll just use a free one or a picture they took. There were even rumors going around, by the way, with absolutely no proof whatsoever, certified Twitter moment, that Panels was actually a pre-existing app and it was just taken and repackaged. And that all stemmed because the Panels Twitter account said it was made back in November 2021. However, Marques actually clarified that the Twitter account is old because they grabbed the handle from an inactive account, but still saying that the app was made entirely from scratch. Again, it really does amaze me how much flack Marques is getting right now. Do I think it's deserved? I don't think it's not an app I would use personally, and I think $50 a year for basically wallpapers is insane. But for someone that usually stays away from drama, I mean, he's gave negative reviews before, but people have always trusted his word. But this is the first time I've seen online, pretty much ever, that he's getting a lot of pushback. Like I said, again, if you go into his YouTube comments right now, they are absolutely cooking him. Now, one thing I do want to point out about Marques, which I think it should really be respected, is he was very quick to respond to this. You know, he hasn't been waiting a while, like for example Mr. Beast or Cody Co, even though there's a, you know, much more serious damning allegations. But Marques took the opportunity to respond to all of it pretty much as soon as possible, putting a tweet out yesterday. "Part of building in public is getting mass feedback immediately, which is pretty dope. Almost exactly like publishing a YouTube video. First thing we're doing is fixing the excessive data disclosures, as people rightfully brought up. For transparency, we'd never actually ask for your location, internet history, etc. The data disclosures that everyone is screenshotting is likely too broad and largely driven by what the ad networks suggest. Working to fix that ASAP. As far as pricing, I hear you. It's our own personal challenge to work to deliver that kind of value for the premium versions. Weekly Friday drops are starting already. I'll also be dialing back the ad frequency for the free experience. Much more to come. I appreciate you all." Now, to be fair, that's pretty based, right? Like, he shut down pretty much every single criticism people had. It's too expensive. I mean, that is a really good response. He basically shut down 99% of all the criticisms. I mean, he talked about the ad frequency. He talked about all the stupid data laws or the data collection. He's getting all that removed because apparently it came in just as standard when promoting these kinds of apps. Now, one thing I noticed that he did not say is he is not lowering the price. He basically said, "I'm not lowering the price, but I'm going to make it worth your while by, you know, having like Friday drops of wallpapers." But yeah, honestly, it's really refreshing to see a YouTuber, you know, have some drama and basically just put their hands up and be like, yeah, yep, okay, we messed up. You know, he didn't try to like weasel his way out of it or try to justify it. Obviously, in the most PR trained way possible, he has said he isn't lowering the price, which is going to make a lot of people unhappy because I think the price is the main reason that people got annoyed, because if you don't want to pay that price, then you're using the free version, then you're getting the ads. But obviously as well, he is directly taking a pay cut because if he's pumping less ads on the free version, that's going to be less income. He also went on to explain his reasoning for wanting to make the app in the first place, saying that his viewers have been asking him for a very long time to make one. He even said the target market for this is insanely small. Most people don't download a wallpaper app. This is for those who've been asking. If you're not into it, don't worry about it. He also went on to confirm that artists are actually getting a share of the subscription tier, and then as well going on to say the app is already free with ads and you need to be at least 9 years old to download the app. I mean, if anything, that's more of just a horrifying reminder that there are people under the age of 9 that have regular access to the internet. I keep forgetting, like every toddler, as soon as they're squirted out, they literally just put on an iPad to play Roblox on. So yeah, overall, I'm doing the Mr. Beast thing again. Stop it! Stop it! I will not do the Andrew Tate hands. That's cringe. That's so cringe. But this goes to show that Marques is actively taking the steps to improve the app. He's not like, you got me. All right, dead app. Let's move on. And he didn't lash out like other creators have. KSI in particular. I mean, does it excuse the fact that the app is $50 a year? No, definitely not. Like, honestly, I will never understand a justification for that. But again, like, even he admitted himself, barely anyone uses a wallpaper app. I don't really understand the reasoning behind it. But, you know, he's not being obnoxious, deflecting, like how KSI was, saying, well, okay, Lunchley's is bad for you, but look, you promoted candy as well. That's cringe. A lot of people have jumped on this saying it's a scam. I don't think it's a scam. I think it's just another way for another YouTuber to make more money, despite the fact that they have tens of millions in the bank. But at the same time, I mean, there will be a few select members of his audience that will genuinely want to use that app, probably just to support him. And I think one of the reasons why Marques is being so cordial about this and being, you know, so self-adamant that like, yeah, okay, we did make a mistake, we've heard your feedback, is because he's known as the reviewer guy. If the reviewer guy releases his own product and then he, you know, starts like having a breakdown because people are attacking his product, then that, like, the entire mask is going to slip. So he's kind of forced into a position where he has to respond in a mature manner. But I also don't think it's forced. I think from like watching his videos, obviously I don't know the guy in person, but he always seems to be very calm, very collected. So it makes sense as to why when he's thrown into criticism, he then maintains that persona. I mean, will this app last? Will it be even profitable? Who knows? It could be taken down, like, for example, Jake Paul's Team 1000 program a couple of years ago. By the way, if you don't know what Team 1000 is, Jake Paul basically tried to copy Andrew Tate and did like his own self-help course, how to be an influencer. Drew Gooden did a very good video, a deep dive in this 4 years ago. Jesus, that was, I swear that was only like 2 years ago. I'm rushing to the grave. Actual speed run. Drew Gooden also uploaded another very good video recently titled Everybody Wants to Waste Your Time, talking about how, you know, people don't get to the point, how they milk certain topics and videos. And then he makes this comparison about like a video that's way too short, like Mr. Beast length, and then a video that's way too long. And I checked the timestamp of the way too long one and I thought, that looks a little bit familiar. And I referenced it with the thumbnail, and it's the Darkwood video. He directly referenced the Darkwood video. But funnily enough, Drew was actually one of the characters in Darkwood. He did have a cameo in it. He's one of the YouTubers I reached out to. He was really friendly to, you know, talk to, and he got me the lines as quick as he could. But yeah, is Darkwood too long? Yeah, it is. It's too long. Now, I want to talk about AI because, of course, I do. I love to moan about it. So some people actually brought up to Marques, can artists use AI? And then Marques gave a kind of vague response saying it's up to the artist to decide that. But then obviously you have that whole problem with AI art where it's like, you know, someone can be a graphic designer, design the best looking phone background ever, and then an AI artist can just type in a few lines and prompts and it generates something that looks exactly the same. And they would still be getting the exact same amount of money for basically less physical effort. And especially because they're trying to push so hard that, you know, artists have a voice. There's like a revenue sharing system that's 50-50. I can see a lot of artists molding that they put like, you know, 20 hours into designing this phone background only for someone to type in poop, fart, stinky butt chungus, critical video, and then they just get the exact same result. So then you have a problem if they're not stamping out AI content. There could just be AI slop absolutely everywhere. And then it might make people think, why am I using this app when people are just typing in prompts and paying $50 a year? what, can't I just do this myself? And personally, I feel that if you've got like a bunch of AI artists on there, not actual genuine artists like traditional or digital or, you know, graphic designers, I do think then the cost of what you're paying for should really go down because the quality overall is probably going to go down. So it will be interesting to see how Marques Brownlee and his team will improve panels going forward. I mean, honestly, I see two outcomes of this. One where he wins all the love and attention from the people again, and then the second one where people kind of just slowly forget about this and move on. And that's like, either of those are probably the outcome that Marques would want. I really can't see him being vilified by this. I mean, even me looking into it, like, yeah, the comments on his channel right now are absolutely roasting him, but like, it's not gonna last. I mean, you got people commenting saying no one's paying $50 a year for a regular wallpaper app, little bro. This app is so incremental that people are just ignoring the phone and making fun of your app. It's a rare occurrence that MKB is actually getting cooked in his own comments section. Thanks for keeping me safe. My Uber driver was sketchy, but then I remembered you're tracking me through your wallpaper app. This subscription culture has to stop. So yeah, like, he's being absolutely cooked. Is it gonna last? Probably not, honestly. I feel like most people that were giving him like flack probably won't buy the app in the first place anyway. But I mean, I do agree. It's like subscription models, they suck. Like, for example, Photoshop, right? Photoshop, I feel like now you need to basically pay a monthly fee. I know this sounds really stupid, and this is coming from like a place of like, you know, privilege because I'm a multi-billionaire, but I would literally rather pay like $5 grand and have Photoshop for life, and then I get all future versions of Photoshop for free, as opposed to having to constantly pay this subscription, because subscription models, they are purposely built to make money off your negligence. Imagine right now how many things you're subscribed to right now that you probably don't even use. I mean, a good example is like me, right? On Amazon, right? I paid like extra money to get access to Shudder, which plays like a bunch of garbage horror films. I think I just wanted to see like one of the VHS films or something, and I still need to cancel my Shudder subscription, but it's so easy to do it. You know, you're on the TV, you got your remote out. Oh, let me just, oh, I don't even need to add my card. It does it for me. Oh, great. But then to cancel it, I'll need to log in on a desktop and then go through a process. They purposely make subscription models to play on your negligence, because eventually you will forget. You'll forget that you're subscribed to something unless you're very frugal with your money, and then it'll slowly be eating into your account and you're not really getting anything out of it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hey, Will Smith. How'd you say his name again?
Marques Brownlee.